My husband Harvey was diagnosed with Alzheimer's disease at age 50. And because he was a physician, he had to retire immediately. He was able to be home alone for about 4 years, but toward the end of that, I was really worried that he couldn't figure out how to spend his days. About the same time, our neighbor Jenny called and said that she had noticed that Harvey and our collie Nash had not been walking in the neighborhood. She knew about Harvey's diagnosis, so I told her that I thought that he had just forgotten that routine. Well, then she volunteered to come walk dogs with Harvey twice a week. And sure enough, she and her new black lab puppy, Lily, would come to the house and walk with Nash and Harvey. About this same time, it was my habit to go to the gym early in the morning. Then I would come home, shower, get ready, wake up Harvey. We would have breakfast together, then I would go to work. One day, I came home from the gym and Harvey was not in the house. I searched the entire house, searched the backyard. Nash was still in the yard, so Harvey hadn't decided to take Nash for a walk. The car was still there. So I got back in my car and drove around the neighborhood in our usual walking routes and to look for Harvey. Couldn't find him anywhere. Even stopped bicyclists and walkers and described Harvey and asked if they had seen him, and no one had. So I decided it was probably time to call the police. So I went home and called 911, and I actually said these words to the dispatcher. I don't know if you think this is an emergency, but my husband has Alzheimer's disease and he's missing. Oh, yes, ma'am, we do think that's an emergency. So then she asked me the standard questions. What was his age, height, weight, any other medical conditions? When she asked me what I thought he was wearing, I went to our bedroom and I realized that he was probably still wearing his flannel plaid pajama bottoms and his pale yellow t-shirt. I also noticed that his glasses were on top of his dresser, so he was wandering blindly, literally. Then the dispatcher told me that I needed to stay put. I needed to stay at the house until she could get an officer to the house. Well, this just ratcheted up my anxiety because I could do nothing but sit in my house. And eventually I called Jenny and asked if she could get in her car and look for Harvey. She agreed, and after I told her what streets I had already looked at, she went in the other direction. So about 10 minutes later, she pulled into my driveway. This was even before an officer could come. And Harvey got out of the car, indeed, wearing his flannel pajama bottoms, sweating profusely because it was summer, his hair all mussed up from bedhead, and I just burst into tears. He was so confused. He came to me, "What is wrong?" "You were missing. I didn't know where you were. I was so scared." "I was just going for a walk." Then I noticed Lily in the back seat of Jenny's car, pointed her out to Harvey, and Harvey went over and started interacting with Lily. This gave Jenny a chance to get out of the car and come tell me what had happened. She found Harvey about a mile from the house, pulled over and asked him if he wanted a ride, and Harvey said no, he was just out for a walk. But then she unleashed her secret weapon. She got out of the car, got Lily out of the car, knowing that Harvey would interact with Lily. And sure enough, Harvey and Lily made beeline for each other. And from there, it was easy for Jenny to get them both back in the car and drive them to my house. So this all goes to show you how wonderful and helpful neighbors can be, even if that neighbor is a black lab puppy.